Hey guys, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel, and I'm here with another video. Been uploading a lot lately, at least trying to once a week. I'm trying to, like every Monday or Tuesday, upload one once a week. I'm working on it, but school's been getting me, you know how it goes. We all hate school. At least I hate school, you know, but the work is boring. That's just how life goes. But anyway, I kind of switched my position up a little bit today because I'm sitting in front of my Christmas tree now and I have a ton of stuff behind me. I know you can't see it, but I didn't feel like moving it all. So we're going to sit here today. But today I am going to be doing my least favorite books that I read in 2020. So far, I've read about 76 books for the year of 2020. And I only have 4 that I want to talk about today that I really, really didn't like, or that there are aspects of books that, like, there's always aspects in books that, you know, you'll never really like, or some parts that just you don't like. So today I've kind of brought together my 4 least favorite, and I'm going to show them to you. So, enjoy! Okay, the first book I have here is The Girl Next Door by Suzanne Nelson. And I think I've talked about this in one of my other videos. I don't know which one. I don't even know if I have, but I feel like I have. So this one wasn't my favorite. And I don't know why, but it was just, I think the whole concept of it was kind of cool. And I don't even think it was, like, not done well, because I feel like it was done pretty well. But I feel like it's just, there were so many aspects of it that I didn't like, but there were also aspects that I did like, but I think just the aspects that I didn't like overruled it. But a basic synopsis of this book is about a girl named Libby, and she gets new neighbors. And when her new neighbors move in, she starts seeing things in, like, her neighbor's backyard. And so what happens is she thinks she sees a little girl playing in her neighbor's backyard. So the next day she goes over there, and the family over there totally shuns her because of what she said, and she doesn't quite understand why. And then she starts to understand the story about this girl who was injured in an accident and is now kind of in, like, a coma state. So what happens is Libby's trying to figure out why her ghost is bothering her and what she can do about it. Now, I don't know what I've said about this book in the past, but I mean, I pretty much like every book after I finish with it, just because I'm so afraid to give a bad review, because I don't really like giving bad reviews. So, but this one, it wasn't my favorite. But then again, this is, like, a series for, like, middle grade, so maybe that's why I didn't like it, because it was meant for a younger audience. I'm honestly not that sure why I didn't really enjoy this one, but it wasn't my favorite. It wasn't terrible, but it really just wasn't my favorite thing. So, it was okay. If you want to check it out and have your own opinions, go ahead. Don't let me insult your opinions. And that's another thing I want to bring up. I have my own opinions. Everybody has their own opinions. And that's okay. Everyone's allowed to have their own opinions. These are just my opinions. Don't get offended by my opinions. Okay? Cool. On to the next book. The next book I have is Survive the Night by Daniela Vega. And this wasn't a bad book. It wasn't a bad book. But it's just, the ending really ruined it for me. The ending just really, really screwed it up for me, because it was so bizarre. And, like, I don't mind bizarre. Like, the book was pretty good in itself. It wasn't a bad book. But the ending was just so bizarre, and it's not something that happens in real life. It's obviously a fantasy book, but mixed with, like, stuff from, like, reality. And it was just, I don't even know how to describe it, because it was just so bizarre. And I don't know if I just didn't like how it was executed, or if I didn't like the whole idea in general. But basically, I'm gonna give a review and I'm probably gonna spoil the ending. So if you want to read this book and you don't want the ending to be spoiled, please skip ahead until you see me not holding this book anymore, and you'll know you're safe. So you've been warned. But basically, this is about a girl named Casey and her friends Shayna, Julie, and Aya. And they go to this party called Survive the Night. And what happens there, it's in kind of like a sewer under New York, and you're not allowed to leave until morning. So what happens is everyone's having a good time, it's pretty chill, and then Casey starts thinking she's like hallucinating because she keeps seeing things, and then she realizes, holy crap, something is down here, something is killing us off, like one by one. And so most of the kids have gotten out, but of course Casey and her friends are stuck down in this sewer, so they're trying to get out to escape this monster type thing. It reminds me of like an octopus with like its tentacles, and it's crazy. It's just this monster thing that is in the water, and it can walk on land, and it can show other forms. And it's kind of a cool concept, but I don't know. It wasn't working for me. I mean, I liked it at first. The book was going great. And then you started getting into the monster part thing. Like, I feel like it would have just been so much better if it had been a human killing them off instead of this bizarre monster thing. And I'm still not sure. I kind of like just skimmed the ending because I physically could not read it all because I didn't like it. So I feel like if it hadn't been a monster, it would have been so much better. And that's just my opinion. So that is that. If you've read this book, let me know if you found the ending bizarre, if you liked the ending, if you hated the ending, if you liked the book in general. Let me know. Alright, so the third book I have is Evil Fairies Love Hair. And again, it wasn't a terrible book, but this book came out in 2014. And it's 2020 now, so this book has been out for a while. So I finally picked it up this year because, like I said in a couple of my other videos, I'm trying to get through like my older books, the books I've had for like years and years that I still have not gotten to. So I picked this one up, and it was kind of just meh, you know? Like, it wasn't bad, just it wasn't my favorite. Basically, I've talked about this book before, I know I have. Basically, follows a girl named Allie, and basically what it is you have to... They're fairies. You have to grow fairies. Crazy concept. So, and you have to grow them by feeding them hair. But it can't be your hair, and there's a whole bunch of rules that follow along with it. So, now all the kids in Allie's school are trying to fight the fairies and try and get them to go back to wherever they came from because the kids don't want to deal with them anymore. Because they're causing way too many problems than it's worth. So, basically, it was an okay book, but I feel like I'm a little too old, and that's why I didn't enjoy it as much. But, I mean, it wasn't a terrible concept. I'm really not sure if I loved it, like, as much as I've loved some of the other books I've read. It definitely wasn't one of my favorites. It definitely wasn't the worst book I've ever read. Like, none of these are the worst books I've ever read. I think there's only been, like, a very few select books that I've absolutely hated, and I couldn't even finish because of how much I hated them. But this wasn't a terrible book, and, I mean, you should check it out for yourself if you want. Like, go ahead, find it at a bookstore, a library, wherever you can find it. But that is that. So let me know down in the comments below about any of these books. If you've loved them, if you hate them, if you want to read them, let me know. And the last book I have here is Goosebumps Most Wanted, How I Met My Monster by R.L. Stine. And this one, I think, like I've said before, I think I just read it when I didn't really want to read it. So that made it like, it just made it like a book that it was just like, oh, just get through it, get it over with. And I think that was my problem with it, was that it wasn't a bad book, but I read it at a wrong time. So I ended up not liking it. It was definitely, I still stand by this because I finally finished the Goosebumps series. I still stand by this was my least favorite one in the Most Wanted series, or at least of the 5 I have. It was my least favorite. So I'm kind of standing by that. But this book is about a kid named Noah, and he's kind of the kid that everyone picks on and that everyone just, you know, bullies, and he kind of just has a miserable life. So then he starts realizing, hey, there's something going on in my town that shouldn't be going on. You know, typical Goosebumps series, pretty strange, bizarre things happening. And so Noah's trying to figure it out while trying to understand why this monster is coming after him and whatever else. So that's basically like this book. It wasn't a terrible book. I feel like I would have enjoyed it more if I had read it when I actually wanted to read it. So that's about that. So yeah. Alright guys, so that is that. Those are my least favorite books of 2020. I know there weren't a lot. There were only 4 of them. Just because there weren't a lot of books in 2020 that I didn't really enjoy. There were only a select few, and there might have been more on my list, but those were only the ones I could think of that were kind of my least favorite. So next week I'm thinking I'm going to do my favorite books of 2020, and I'm not even sure what those were. So I'll have to look back at my list and see what's that. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe, leave a comment, and a like, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!